Hey y'all! Casey here. And today I'm being joined by my lovely boyfriend, Brandon Graham. And we're going to be going over some comics. It's going to be a new series that we're going to do, where we're just going to go through all these comics that Brandon has hoarded up, and we're going to try to figure out what's worth keeping, what's not, read them together, and discuss them.
We're going to take these comics to court.
We're going to take them to court.
We have too many.
Put them on trial.
We're going to talk through how we feel about keeping them in our home.
Yes. And then the ones that we decide not to keep in our home, we're going to donate to our favorite local comic book store, Cosmic Monkey. Right?
Oh, yes.
Our boys. Okay.
You even have two boxes behind us here that say, what do they say?
Keepers and Weepers.
Keepers and Weepers, yeah.
Mm-hmm.
So we have Marvel Comics Emperor Doom, which we'll start with. Yeah, the Emperor Doom Marvel graphic novel, the basic rundown of it, is that Dr. Victor Von Doom has figured out a way to take the Purple Man's powers of basically coercion and put them inside of a crystal and get them to control the entire world. He needs Namor's help to control the sea, and also Namor, as he says later on, Namor is just an excellent slave or assistant or whatever, and manages to take over the entire world, becomes the single president of the world. And while this is all going on, Wonder Man has been put in a 30-day isolation chamber so Tony Stark could run tests on his physiology. So he wakes up 30 days later, and Dr. Doom is the supreme leader of Earth, and is actually doing a lot of good for everyone.
Yeah. But then he's like, everybody's free will has been taken away. What do I do with this? Story ensues.
Right.
Right, so that's Emperor Doom. What kind of crazy antics do they get up to in this here graphic novel?
There's so many.
So many.
So I guess, what year is this? 1987. So this came out kind of in Jim Shooter's run, which essentially, like, Shooter came into Marvel in the 80s, and, pre-Shooter, Marvel had gotten a little bit kind of like B-movie. They were just kind of throwing stuff at the wall to see what stuck. And Shooter came in and had much stricter rules about, like, this is how you do a comic book. Everybody's comic book has to be there. Every comic you do is going to be somebody's first comic, and all these things to make sure that the story holds together. And all in all, I think Emperor Doom's pretty solid.
Yeah. It's certainly a lot better than some things that came out at the time.
Do you have any?
What?
That sounds like you have an agenda against.
Against what?
No, just because I always regard 80s Marvel as, like, very generally solid, kind of boring sometimes, but very solid all the way through.
I like some. I like a lot of the X-Men stuff that happened then. I guess I don't know as much of the non-X-Men stuff that happened in the 80s.
Yeah, maybe it's getting too much into the weeds, but I feel like me and you always talk a lot about how Chris Claremont had a lot of amazing ideas, but
really good ideas.
His writing just became
such a bad writer. Such a bad writer.
I mean, I enjoyed it at the time, but yeah, it's like, he writes like he gets paid by the word.
He does. And this is all in light of the fact that, like, New Mutants is one of my, like, that run, especially of New Mutants, that 80s run is, like, my favorite thing, and yet still, Chris Claremont, you cannot write your way out of a paper bag. You would suffocate before you got out.
It generally didn't occur to me that I didn't enjoy a lot of his writing until I read him writing Conan.
Huh, interesting.
And I think because I had such a strong feeling of what a good Conan comic is, and then Claremont came in and he, like, made it a romance, and it was just like, dude, that's not what you do with a Conan.
I cannot imagine him writing Conan. That is a bad fit.
It wasn't good. Oh, so Emperor Doom, though.
Oh, yes, right.
Super off track here. So it's David Michelini, I think is how you pronounce his name.
Okay.
Is the artist or is the writer, and then Bob Hall did the art with inking assist by Keith Williams. I should mention that Michelin also, I looked at his Wikipedia a little bit. He's still alive. He's 72 years old.
Okay.
And he is known for creating Venom, Carnage, and War Machine. And and Bob Hall, the artist of this, co-created the West Coast Avengers with Roger Stern. And the inking assistants, Keith Williams, did a big 10-year run on the Phantom. The Ghost Who Walks.
Yes. And relevant here, the West Coast Avengers actually feature prominently in this story.
Yeah, it has, the cover of them has like nothing but West Coast Avengers and then Captain America. And Captain America shows up like 3/4 of the way through, and I was really hoping he wasn't going to be in it because it would made the cover funnier.
But alas, we get a Cap.
Yeah, also Wasp on the cover here is just not facing. It's like everyone else is like standing forward, and Wasp is just like, what are you guys talking about over there?
For a second, I was gonna say maybe it's because she's like the one woman on the cover, but no, all the other women know how to like turn around. But
I mean, it breaks up the monotony.
yeah, it's true. I guess it's weird that like her coloring blends in with the visions because it's like yellow just like bleeds into the yellow.
Maybe that's why.
Yeah, maybe.
We're very good at getting off track today, but so basically, Doctor Doom has found a way to take these crystals and use them to enhance the Purple Man's power. Purple Man, who I believe he was the villain in the Jessica Jones TV series.
Which is so yes, you told me that, and you're right. But it's so weird because he looks like this in this book.
He's a Purple Man.
He's literally a purple man.
Who lied to you? That's a Purple Man.
I know, but it's just like, don't you wish you got to see David Tennant full purple?
Full purple?
Yeah. The world was cheated. Is what I'm trying to say.
I feel like I'm so used to. I mean, the world was cheated. Don't need to ever take that back. But I feel like I'm so used to this idea of like televised movie versions of superheroes just being kind of less cool. It's like the Street Fighter, when they made the Street Fighter movie, you get a Hadoken like barely. It's like he does it and it lights up a punch or something.
Yeah.
And so only very recently with the Marvel movies do you actually... We were watching Battle Angel Alita today, and it's so tied to the manga. So Purple Man is basically, when you're around him, he releases pheromones, or anything about him makes you want to bend to his will.
Yeah, it seems like pheromones and like body oils, because you have to come in contact with him or inhale them.
Smell him or taste him or whatever. So yeah, he's introduced, and he's basically like... It's also just, as a character, it's really funny because... the way they handle power in this is really funny. Because the Purple Man is introduced, and he has the mayor of a place like serving or fanning him, while the general, like a big general, is serving him a drink. So it's basically like his whole thing is he gets people in positions of power to bring him cakes and rub his feet. And then Doctor Doom shows up and basically captures him.
He's like, you're squandering these powers. Let's do some world domination with them. That seems a lot.
So Doctor Doom's like, we're just going to dominate the world with Purple Man powers.
Yeah.
And it starts off in New York. After that, he's in New York City, and you actually have Namor walking down the street in the rain and talking about how much Namor loves rain.
Like tears in the rain.
Unlike Missy Misdemeanor Elliott, who can't stand the rain. But so and a cop sees, he's like dressed as like a 1940s cosplayer, like detective.
Okay, you said that when we were initially talking about this. He's just dressed like a person in the 80s, walking around like he's in a business suit. Like
he's got a fedora on.
Yeah, a hat.
How else would you dress a 1940s detective cosplayer?
Well, it's just not like you're making it sound like it's out of place, but it's not. It's just like that's what you look like in New York.
I'm
like
just
this,
saying.
Other people are looking like it too.
And even Namor talks about... Namor's on my side here, that's my point. No, even Namor talks about it where he's like... He hates like being so like having to go incognito because he is like, you know... Also, in this, it occurred to me that Namor, 1980s Namor, feels like modern day movie Aquaman. Like he's kind of a dick. Like Namor's a dick, and they made the new Aquaman more of a dick.
Oh, they made Aquaman more like Namor.
Yeah. Yeah,
that's accurate.
To the point where I was reading this, and I kept thinking like, oh, just like Aquaman. And I was like, oh, no, different universes. Yeah. So yeah, and a cop notices Namor's wings on his feet, which is also funny. Like he's like in full disguise, but like he couldn't get like some woolly socks or something.
Well, but how would they? Like you don't want to break the wings.
You're not going to break the wings.
Right.
Namor, you could like in this. I was gonna get Doctor Doom shoots Namor with a blast of energy and burns all of his clothes off him, including his shoes. Wings are fine. They can handle some heavy duty socks, some leg warmers, some nice leg warmers.
Yeah, that's fair.
Some little wing guards. You get some high tops. You get some long pants. Either way, a cop notices his wings and like calls in SWAT.
He doesn't call in SWAT. He just calls in the police. And
the SWAT police.
Because he's like, oh my god, it's Namor. And Namor is like, I think, at least at some point he declared war on like the surface or something like that.
Yeah, no, I get that Namor is, but like, man, it's rough if there's other guys walking with wings on their feet.
Oh, that would be rough. Fortunately, there isn't.
There must. That thing that kept occurring to me in reading this is they're dealing with the entire world. Maybe like there are 3 robots in the world.
Only 3.
And I was thinking, I was like, there's probably robots that are like little incognito robots. So Doctor Doom invites him to a fancy restaurant, and Namor shows up, and he immediately blasts all of Namor. Like Namor is like talking to the maitre d', being like, I think I'm meeting Victor Von Doom here. Does he have a table? And Doctor Doom just blasts all of his clothes off of him.
Yeah, it's a power move from one egomaniac to another.
I guess it's still a weird move. He's just like,
it's weird,
he basically said, actions speak louder than his words. His actions said, show me them.
You cannot. That's getting edited.
So basically Doctor Doom enlists Namor's help to take over the world. And he tells Namor that he'll get the ocean.
Right. Namor shows up. Namor's clothes get blasted off by Doom.
Also, his little shorts are fine.
Yeah.
Are human clothes just inferior to...
Oh, well, no. So to their credit, the clothes are shredded here. His outer clothes are shredded, but not destroyed. He must... Yeah, then they fall off by the wayside. So because it's... You had him like undies. Oh, good.
You think that it was just that they had the outer layer of clothes took the punishment?
Yeah. Mm-hmm.
Did you not like Namor's eyebrows?
I don't like his hair. His weird flat top.
Generally, I realized I dislike the inking in this. So basically, I get it. The simple version is Doctor Doom wants to control the world using Purple Man by putting him inside of a giant crystal. Mm-hmm. And he enlists Namor, and they're like, we got to deal with all these robots that we can't control. Poop Man. And so they literally have these like kick me sign things that go around to robots and like put on their backs.
Okay, you can't say they literally have these kick me signs when they're not literally kick me signs.
You are like such a lawyer sometimes.
But yes, they put these things on the robots to make them affected by the Purple Man's stuff.
And while this is going on, Wonder Man is getting tested for
AIDS.
There's an AIDS thing.
There is actually an AIDS thing. That's right, because it's 1987.
Yeah.
But he's getting tested for what he is, because he's like made up of energy.
Right. So basically, Baron Zemo.
He's a person, sure.
Yeah, Baron my children to the ladies. He basically tried to Incredible Hulk Wonder Man and shot him with a bunch of ion stuff and turned him into an ion energy being. Which is the only reason I can think of why he wears the red glasses, because his ions glow red.
Sure.
It's not real. You're like, that science is not. The introduction of Wonder Man is really fun because, so first of all, he's working as a stunt man. Mm-hmm. And so they're using real explosives on the set that he's on, which seems like it'd be dangerous for other people too. There's a lot of union problems in this and laws, I imagine. Especially
when like the scene, one of the scenes they're doing is in ostensibly in like a trench or a foxhole where people are very close by. Like, sure, Wonder Man might be able to, like, he covers it. He doesn't even cover it with his body. He covers it with his helmet, yeah. Which would then explode and
throw shrapnel everywhere.
Yeah, to all of the actors who are around him.
Logistic problems in this Wonder Man working.
Yeah.
I mean, it makes sense of him working as a stunt man, but it doesn't make sense that he's real explosives. And then he goes to the West Coast, best coast Avengers will say, mansion, And
I mean, the best coast, that's what I'm saying.
oh yeah. Oh yeah, this is another great thing. So Hawkeye, who I just found out reading this, is a carny, which makes me fear and distrust him.
Welcome to Hawkeye.
Yeah, circus people.
How did you not know that?
I got other stuff going on.
Okay, sure.
And Tigra, there's a great line here where Tigra's lying on a towel in her full normal uniform, which also works as like a tanning uniform, which is great.
Just a bikini.
And she's reading a book, and it looks like just a normal novel, and she's like, I'm in the middle of this new Jim Davis book. It's terrific. And
What did Jim Davis do?
Jim Davis is the creator of Garfield.
And I didn't know that.
I think I said to you, like, Jim Davis.
Right.
Like,
and
you don't have the creator of Garfield's name memorized.
I know, right? Shame on me.
I know. Get your life together.
Truly. But I looked it up. I don't think Jim Davis did prose, as far as I can see.
No, Jim Davis exclusively did
cartoons.
Garfield, and he had another comic strip about a pig. It was like a farm. I saw that cartoon. It's on TV.
Charlotte's Web?
It was Charlotte's Web. No.
Yeah.
No. When they offered him pizza, but then Hawkeye and Mockingbird stopped making out.
Yeah.
And Wonder Man's just like, oh, pizza's gonna get cold by the time they're finished with their what's the term? Tonsil hockey.
I've never heard that before, but sure. So I thought he was like, oh, he's just walking away from food. Turns out, no, that's not what he's doing, because he has a satchel full of sandwich.
Does he have a sandwich satchel?
Yeah, he offers it to Tigra. He's like, you want some of this hero? Which is also, this is amazing. Hi, Tigra. Care to split a hero or sandwich, that is?
Oh, because he's like, do you want to eat half of me?
Right.
Or a sandwich.
The joke. Yes.
And he keeps talking about how he doesn't need to eat.
He doesn't need to, but he likes it.
Yeah.
Yeah. I like it too.
He's mostly into pooping. That's the thing about Wonder Man. So Tony Stark, it's also funny to see like kind of pre-Robert De Niro Tony Stark, because he's such a dweeb. He's got like a vest on with a yellow shirt. He's got like a red vest and a yellow shirt, brown vest.
Yeah. Right.
And he's like, hey, just get naked and get in this coffin full of green liquid.
It's right. Essentially, though, it's a and they even call it this, like a sensory deprivation chamber. Which, by the way, if you were just to like stay, well, I guess Wonder Man is like different than the rest of us, but like, I feel like that would drive anybody insane. Like, being in there, because you can start hallucinating from being in there for like a few hours.
Yeah.
Let alone, a month.
I wonder if they knocked him out.
But then would you get accurate readings? I don't know. Also, why does he have to be in this coffin to get accurate? Who knows? It's just a plot device.
Yeah. The point of it is they need him in the coffin for...
Yeah.
And also, Namor is walking around with the crystal with Purple Man's hair in it. It felt very like... very fashionista of Namor.
Oh, yes.
Also, I was unfamiliar. I guess I hadn't thought about him but Star Fox?
Yeah, I didn't. I've seen him before, maybe, but I knew nothing when he shows up.
Yeah. Thanos' brother, Star Fox.
Yeah, sure. The equally intimidating looking Star Fox. Just as intimidating as Thanos.
Why is Thanos purple and Star Fox isn't? Is it a David Tennant thing? So let's see. So yeah, they go around. All the robots in the world they can't control with Purple Man energy, so they have to go around and slap little discs on them. Spat is the sound effect. Oh, and Doom has Doom Island in this, which looks like such a cool mask action figure playset.
Yeah.
Which is like these like mountains with little domes in them and things like that.
Or like you can imagine like one like spin and like a gun would come out and be like, get your super exclusive edition
I think some
playset.
guns come out of the sand later on.
Oh, you're right. Yeah.
Um,
I can imagine like a little knob that you get to do that with. Like,
oh yeah, I had
Maybe
the
it's
mask boulder playset when I was a kid.
oh, I had no idea I was I was
Let's get a
sitting
little
here with-
respect here.
I see now.
So the one kind of plot flaw that I noticed in this,
Mhm.
or at least the one that stuck out the most to me, is when Doctor Doom goes to Doom Island. There's a bunch of narration about how the guards there are all terrified if they misstep, how they'll get like a fate worse than getting fired. It says.
Yeah.
But then later on, and I notice they all have these very kind of sentinel faces.
Mhm.
And then later on, the same guys, they're just like, these guys are robots, and they start like cutting their heads off.
Yeah.
So I feel like that's that's an instance of a writer and artist not kind of like meshing well.
Or just this needing like a more attentive editor to be like,
Sure.
oh, there's inconsistency. What's up with that?
Yeah. I mean, they could have done something as simple as like color them differently on this page.
Yeah, sure.
Because their faces are all like flesh color here, and later on they're still flesh color.
But they've got the weird like mouth, like
Yeah.
very angular.
They have, yeah, and they all, their faces all look like Manny faces. It's like a soup can for a head.
Manny faces?
Manny Pacey Man guy had a little knob on his head.
Oh, yeah, yeah. How
Um,
weird they do look like him. Wow, that even makes the whole like Doom Island thing even more like all of the
Like they have Manny Pacey
toys.
He-Man villains.
Mhm.
Yeah, and so they just have a big room with Purple Man like in the center of it,
Mhm.
and he's just like talking about how he's gonna enact revenge on Doom when he gets out.
Mhm.
I wonder how long until he would go. Like, part of me wants to see this story played out even more. Like, what happens if he's in there for 10 years?
Mhm. Yeah, I mean, we know that Wonder Man doesn't eat sustenance and stuff, but we don't know that Purple Man doesn't.
And Purple Man, as far as I know, is just a normal dude that just has these powers.
Yeah.
And also, he's somebody who probably his entire life has been given everything he wanted, so he must be going crazy by being held against his will.
Yeah, totally.
So
Well,
it's-
not his whole life, because he was a normal person and experimented on, and then, but for most of his life. he's-
Okay, I don't know Purple Man's origin.
I guess I researched before
It's
this.
very purple.
Machine Man.
Yeah, Machine Man shows it briefly because, so yeah, the 3 robots that they have to go slap things on to get them to control are Machine Man, Vision, and Ultron.
Mm-hmm. The only 3 robots in the Marvel universe, apparently.
In according to this
1987.
story. I feel like we could think of more if we.
That's
but-
kind of what I was trying to think of.
Yeah, but
I think there is, but-
yeah, it's. Oh, something else I read about is that I think this is off Wikipedia. I don't know from comics or anything, but it's saying that Wonder Man was the guy who, basically, Vision was initially the robot that was the original Human Torch, kind of before Johnny Storm.
I guess-
It's his body with like Wonder Man's brain scan was Vision.
Oh, you're right. The Wonder Man thing was like, that sounds familiar. Interesting. I forgot that.
The other-
Makes this a lot interesting.
Yeah.
And a thing that I thought was cool that you brought up when we were talking about this earlier was that, like, in the cinematic universe, the Vision is the brain. Well, he's Jarvis. And they-
Oh, the films. That's
Yeah.
what we were talking about. Is the in the Avengers movies, Jarvis is an AI that Tony Stark uses to. He's like, "Hey Siri."
Yeah, he's like the advanced Hey Siri.
Yeah. But in the comic book, the real thing,
Mm-hmm.
the real thing that actually happened in history.
In the documentary
in
books.
the documentary books, Jarvis is the butler that works at Avengers Mansion. And we talked about how you were saying to me that the 1980s, the butlers were more of a common idea in like superhero stuff than they are.
Yeah, in superhero stuff, but more so it's just like that this isn't that far removed from like when the Avengers were first created, and like he was an integral, like he was a part of that, so it was just like inertia. I guess they didn't have a moment where they were like, oh, don't need a butler anymore, I guess.
Batman's got a butler. He's just one dude. The Avengers should have like 6 butlers.
Yeah, sure.
That was my point I was getting to before. Is
Yes.
I wanted to talk about how my dumb idea was a league of butlers.
The Butler Initiative.
Yes, and we talk and basically the idea of like, should they have superhero uniforms like butler superheroes, or should they just wear standard butler things with maybe butler standard Butler suits, but they're in the colors of the superheroes that they work for. So you get a red, white, and blue Captain America Butler. I guess Batman's Butler would be the same. Maybe his tie would be yellow. But more importantly, superheroes also need formal outfits and casual outfits.
Definitely.
And I think Captain America does.
But and my pitch for the Butler Initiative is that they wear like spandex, like the those like tuxedo T-shirts, but in like spandex form. So they're just like they've got like like the white shirt, but it's actually just a part of this. It's a whole thing, and then it'll make the color coordinations a whole lot easier.
But I want some just chubby elderly butlers. Are they going to be comfortable enough in that outfit?
Yeah, it's like Lulu leggings, but like all over your body. What's the boy version?
Superhero uniforms before they got all like SWAT. I feel like were always things where it's just like if someone's not immediately going to, if someone's not like a crazy person that goes on a bicycle in a superhero outfit, or they're going to the gym immediately in that, that's just not an outfit that anybody like purposely wants to wear.
That's true. One of the most horrendous offenders, they've always been like, oh, it's on the front, I guess, yeah. So like the jackboot thing, I don't get this
Where
at
does
all.
that come
People
from?
don't.
Is it just, it's because it seems like,
swashbucklers, I guess.
yeah, because pirate comics were probably big when they were creating early superheroes, so maybe there's a bit of that over there. I mean, there's a bunch of stuff, like, if we're going to critique out, like, Hawkeye's outfit's horrible.
It really is.
He just looks like, he's like Great Wolverine.
Tunic, like, the fraction step is the only, like, outfit I think.
Because he just didn't wear the purple?
Nothing like this. Like, he still wore, like, some, like, purple clothing and stuff like that, but, like, anyways.
I like the color scheme for Star Fox.
The
but I don't like his weird
hair horns.
Yeah. So how the double HE hockey sticks did Star Fox get in here? Do you know Slippy? Because the video game.
Yes, that's what I got so excited when I read Star Fox initially, because like, wait, is there like some weird crossover that I'm not aware of? No, it's just a less good character in this.
He's not even a real fox.
It's not even a real fox. Imposter. Blah blah blah. Doom.
So at some point we talked about where they get to Doom Island, which was they found because it was purchased with Latvian money. Should we?
Latvarian. Latvia is an actual place. There are real humans who live there. No.
And a lot of Doom bots too, for honest.
No. Oh my god. Don't make me embarrass you and talk about geography.
Well, apparently Doom Island can move around,
yeah.
so it's less important in this instance. Do you want to talk over the good deeds that Dr. Doom did for the world when he was in control?
It's like very like topical to like 1987. Like I feel like it's not just like world peace generally. It's the Soviets getting out of Afghanistan, which is like funny to me now.
Right, Ethiopia gets...
They get all of the technology and the famine goes away.
Right, apartheid ended.
Yep, that's over.
The stock market fixed, no problems. Nuclear weapons disarmed.
Yep. But the stock market lady is all like, because it also says crime and hunger dwindle, and stock market is doing well.
Oh, there's a housewife who's just like, she's bummed out because she's like, crime and poverty, those are my favorite things. Are bonbons going next?
No.
Yeah, she's gotta reflect. Also wearing purple, so.
Yeah, that'll do it to you. So we almost get a naked shot of Wonder Man.
Oh yeah, he's totally naked, except for those bubbles he's wearing when he's in the coffin thing for 30 days. Except for he doesn't take off his sunglasses.
That's true. Wow, those things must just be like melded to his face. I wonder if there's ever a canonical image of him not wearing sunglasses.
Oh yes, he didn't wear sunglasses sometimes, but his eyes are just red, no pupils, as far as I remember.
But like, is there an actual image of that, or is it
Yeah.
just like? Oh, okay.
Because I think different eras. Like these days, he looks like doesn't. I feel like the Warren Ellis era Machine Man kind of looked like Wonder Man does now too.
Oh, I never read that.
There's a Next Wave series that. So before we were talking about how to actually rate these books,
Yes, that's right.
do you want to go over our?
Yes. So our scales are the art, the writing, the amount of babes, and the zaniness.
Okay. Is Butler's is it all part of this?
No, Butler's is not a part of the equation.
Okay.
That can be incorporated into zaniness if it's like a particularly fun Butler, I suppose.
That's not the job of a butler. Buttling is not particularly fun.
It could be. You gotta make it fun. Okay, let's see where.
Oh, we should talk about one of the faults of this. I will go over our judging, but for the writing, one of the faults of it is I felt the structure could have been better. Like it starts with Doctor Doom enacting his plan, and then it shows Wonder Man like going into the thing for 30 days, and then you see everything that happens while he's asleep. I kind of wish that it was a 30 days. What's the vampire movie?
30 Days a Night?
Yeah, no, not 30 Days a Night. I meant the one where the guy wakes up in the beginning of the movie and the world has been taken over by zombies.
Oh. By zombies?
Yeah, I got.
The Walking Dead?
No, there's like a British movie.
Oh, 28 Days Later.
28 Days Later. I wish they'd done a 28 Days Later thing where the story starts and Wonder Man wakes up and realizes everything is weird, and then he has to kind of decipher how Doctor Doom got into power. I think that would have been more fun than actually seeing, like, I don't really, like, it's silly and fun to show Doctor Doom meeting up with Namor in a fancy restaurant to tell him the plan, but there's not a lot of mystery in that.
Yeah, that's true.
This is something frustrating that happens in writing sometimes, where the audience knows the story before the character knows the story, and then you almost have to wait for it to be explained to them and then see them react to this thing that you already know, which I think kind of creates a disconnect.
Yeah, agreed.
So what did you think of the writing?
I thought that it was like pretty well written for, like I didn't think it was overwritten, which I think is something that I find a lot of fault with in especially some older
Sure.
superhero books. But yeah, so not overwritten. I thought it made sense. There was like little fun moments like this one right here where they just like Power Man and the Hulk are not at anywhere else in the story. They just appear in two panels. Yeah, and like that's just fun. Sure, okay, and
That's kind of a cool thing about the larger Marvel universe, is just when they throw in like, oh, here's this character in the background.
yeah,
It does feel like everything's bigger that way.
yeah, like there's this actual world going on, not just the one character you're following at that moment. So yeah, I mean, like, overall, I thought it was just like pretty good writing. It wasn't anything that I like wrote down quotes for, or feel that I like need to have this in my life as far as the writing goes, but I thought it was pretty good.
Yeah, it's competent, like, yeah, it's all, yeah, it's very, like, solid, fun, but, like, not anything where I'm like, I'm gonna search out more stuff by this guy.
Yes, agreed. It, like, if I was like a kid in 1987 and I got this, I'd be like, oh, this is cool. Like, cool, this is a weird, fun story.
Yeah, I felt both the writing and the art in the same way were kind of, like, functional, but I didn't, like, love or hate them.
Yeah, agreed with the art as well. Yeah, it's like...
The art has kind of a Klaus Janson kind of, you know, the inker on Dark Knight Returns. You read Dark Knight?
Yeah, but I don't know the
But
inker on the book.
He has a real kind of boxiness of his style, and I felt like this had a similar thing to that, where a lot of it was just very, like, squared out, which I don't particularly like. I feel like I kind of go the other direction where I like smoother lines.
Yeah. Yeah, agreed.
And the coloring is very flat and competent and kind of not offensive but not spectacular.
Yeah.
Purple Man's purple.
Mm-hmm.
Daredevil also shows up in one instance where just in like the computer screen. I don't know if we talked about this yet, but the idea of how amazing the Avengers mansion computer is.
Oh yes.
How basically there's
The mainframe.
a video of Namor holding up a crystal with a hair in it, and Wonder Man just goes type 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 type, and it says, "I'll get the computer to run a visual analysis, and I'll be darned, the Purple Man."
What do you know?
Just like a visual analysis of a hair can tell that it's clearly this individual's hair.
Mm-hmm.
It's a magic Narnia computer.
I need that computer for my work, so I can be like, oh look, not my guy. That would be great.
For your legal work?
Yeah. Yes. So public defender. Yeah. So there's that. There's Cap fighting a whole bunch. My one thing that kind of got to me with this book was that it was very like inoffensive and competent and all these things, but like that doesn't make me want to read like almost 80 pages of a story. Like it has to be a lot better than that to really like I got through it or whatever.
Yeah,
but
there's not really much about like Wonder Man's the main character, right?
Yeah, which is also interesting because it's supposed to be Doom, and he's like a secondary main character, if that makes sense.
Doom is almost the force of nature that creates the story. But it was interesting because Wonder Man. All I can tell you about Wonder Man's personality from this is that he doesn't have to eat, but he likes to eat, and that's kind of it.
He's just a good dude. He's the everyman with powers.
Another thing I read about him on his Wikipedia is that initially when he got caught up with Baron Zemo was because he was embezzling.
Yeah.
So it's interesting, like this moral crime, I'll say.
And I mean, when he first was introduced, he was a villain of the Avengers.
Right.
Or antagonist, I guess not. I don't know if villain is the right word, but turn it around.
Yeah. Yeah. The third quality. How is the babes?
Well, Tigra is lovely. Mockingbird is like very cool and action packed.
Wasp, white Anglo-Saxon Protestant.
Bit too waspy. Yeah, I would say it's like adequate babe factor, but like that's sort of the theme for me of this. It's like kind of like seas all around.
Yeah,
Like
yeah. Like
sea.
it's like Tigra is kind of like she's in her superhero bikini, and she's like reading Jim Davis, and then like,
as one does.
yeah, but yeah, none of the. It's funny. The female characters in it essentially, it's like Mockingbird is very weak-willed. That's all we know about them.
Yeah, it's unfortunate.
But
But Janet Van Dien is very strong-willed. They highlight that.
the Wasp.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Weird that Tigra doesn't come up. They don't talk about her when they're
Yeah, it's
like.
not even a. They don't even consider her well.
Jeez, is she even in the book after like the first half?
She's in the first half. She basically like
She's
sets
in-
the stage of like, this is what it's like West Coast Avengers. We just got a Tiger Babe hanging out.
I mean, I want to be on that team. It's way more fun than stodgy New York. And these, oh my gosh, I love these.
Oh, when they go to Doom Island, there's giant murder tanks.
Yes, and the designs are so good. They're like, they're totally like those like play sets again.
Like Zoids.
Yeah, they're so fun.
Also, big old D.
Big old D. That's right.
Mm-hmm.
Which looks like the Daredevil D to me. It looks like
I
a
had the
cross
same
between.
reaction.
It's like Daredevil, and then a more legible version of the Disney D.
Do you think if Disney had tanks, they would have that? Just the Disney D?
If
For
you don't think Disney
Sorry, I'm
has
saying,
its
do
own
you
private
believe
army?
that Disney has that on their tanks?
I am a veteran.
You know what I say? You know what I say if people want to put out Graham tanks?
What?
I say tanks but no tanks.
So there's they're busting
So they-
up the complex.
They break into his compound.
Mhm.
Oh, there's a brand of cola on, just like littering on Doom Island here. There's also a porn magazine that a guard was looking at
Oh,
earlier.
that's right. Yeah.
It's called, was it Playhouse?
Playhouse. Mm-hmm.
Yeah. I wish there was more of a thing of like what it's like to run. This is not gonna fly in Jim Shooter's Marvel, but like if you had like a Hugh Hefner character and they talked about what it's like to put out like Playboy and superhero universe.
Or like, what if you had like a series that was like set in their version of the Playboy Mansion, where like superheroes could like come and go and all this.
I assume superheroes are hanging. I think that's the thing is like once you introduce superheroes, I feel like it changes absolutely anything. And even when they bring in like apartheid and like famine in Africa and things in this, I mean, that's part of my brain is just like superheroes not doing anything about that.
Yeah, that's kind of
Like Purple Man could just show up and just be like, guys, not that he's a hero. So Wasp goes in she sneaks in through a vent to the room where they have Purple Man and the giant crystal.
Yeah.
And Namor's in there to defend it, and she smashes the thing on Namor's neck, and then smashes the thing and gets a bunch of water pour in.
Mm-hmm.
And that like rejuvenates him. Dude loves water.
It like knocks up. Okay, that's what's happening. So I thought that maybe like it just knocked the crystal off of him. No, it's the actual presence of water.
She has to get rid of the crystal, and then water
Okay.
does that more. And there's this great scene at the end where they're basically like, it looks like you're gonna defeat Doctor Doom, and he has a red button that he's like has like murder gas in that room that could take them all out. And
Yes, one does.
Yeah, I mean he is Doctor Doom, and as he's reaching for the button, he keeps having these flashes of basically like having to deal with bureaucracy, and then he's just like, never mind. And I think he says, perhaps it is wiser to let fate decide.
And that is actually one sort of interesting-ish subplot to this book, where that like Doom is struggling with this idea of like achieving his dream, but it feeling hollow because he didn't earn it.
Well, he's just bored by the whole thing, and like
Yeah.
when Wonder Man wakes up and he has like a revolt to deal with, it's like the best thing to have to do. Yeah,
Yeah.
he says, "Ooh, goody." I would like the only DC Marvel crossover I want in this book is when he says, "Perhaps it is wiser to let fate decide." I just want a little inset panel of Doctor Fate just on his couch going, "Not my problem."
Can add that.
Mm-hmm. And then they shatter the Purple Man crystal, and suddenly like Russia goes back to invading places, and then like punk teenagers are now defacing Doctor Doom posters, and then the final line of it, like they trash Doom Island and everything, and they're all flying away in a helicopter, and Hawkeye says, "We've done humankind the greatest favor in history," like pat yourself on your back much, and he goes, "Or we've done the greatest damage." Like Hawkeye's a little self-important here. And either way, that's something we're going to have to live with for the rest of our lives. And I was just thinking, like, it made me really just reminded me of the impermanence of superhero comics. And just how I'm just like, you're never going to think about this again, Hawkeye.
That's what the whole Pizza Dog was, him dealing with. Never mind.
I should read that at some point.
Very good. Anyways, Emperor Doom.
Mm-hmm. Oh, how was the wackiness on it?
Wackiness?
The zaniness.
The zaniness?
I felt a little lacking in zany.
I agree. Yeah, it didn't have any, and like that's like a extra like factor for me. Like if you can check off the other boxes, solidly.
Mm-hmm.
If you don't have zany, okay, maybe you have
Especially
a
in
good
an 80s
book.
superhero comic. And I wonder if the shooter influence on it made it like less, because there's some things in it like the scene with the blind girl that I really enjoyed, how it did not advance the plot in any way, and it was just basically like a blind woman shows up and I guess kind of fills in Wonder Man stuff that reader already knows.
Oh, I guess that's true.
And he uses his powers in front of her because he's like, "Oh, I'm gonna see this."
Yeah, I felt like they could have done more with that scene, but they did not. Yeah, not much zany. Oh, the makeout thing with Hawkeye and Mockingbird, and then like the.
Yeah, it's like Chekhov's gun does not apply to pizza and West Coast Avengers. It's like they show up and there's a pizza offered, and then no one eats it. There's no follow-up. There's no like, what happened to this pizza?
That's my unresolved anxiety from this book. What happened to that pizza?
You think I should just add a page just to the Avengers, West Coast Avengers mansion, and there's just a cold pizza like a month later just sitting there on the counter?
Yeah.
And Jarvis is just like...
Or the pizza is aware of, that everything's changed, but it can't voice that because it doesn't have a mouth. It
has no mouth, but it must be...
Exactly, yes. Anyways, okay, so art, writing, both competent, but...
Give it all a C all the way around.
Yeah, big ol' C. I would say the zaniness was like a D. It wasn't...
There's moments. I would also give...
It's like D, not F.
What's that?
That's why it's a
okay.
D, not an F.
Okay, so we have slightly different rulings.
End of the day, though, I don't think for us it's a keeper.
Yeah.
It was a fun read, but...
It'd be an excellent book to get from the library.
Yeah, totally. Yeah. All right.
Glad we got these two.
Well, anyways, thanks for watching. We're going to be doing a bunch of these coming up because we got a whole lot of books to go through. And yeah, if you live in the Portland area and you are interested in one of these books that we're giving away, you will be able to find it at Cosmic Monkey. Okay. Until next time.